So what are you feeling now about the same-sex marriage bill that unfortunately did not pass?
I'm still optimistic. National polls have shown that support for it has grown dramatically in just the past 5 or 6 years, from about a third of the country to over half. And Maryland is a more progressive state. And so I think over time we keep moving a little closer. So I'm fairly optimistic that it will pass next year. And if not next year, in a political story beyond what we can say today, it would then probably be another 3 years. But I'm fairly positive that we can pass it next year.
The area that you live in is more diverse. So how do you think that's formed your politics?
This county wasn't as diverse when I was growing up, but I think when I went off to college and described the diversity we had, people were astounded. Their communities weren't diverse at all. But I think when you meet other people and different life experiences, you stop looking just through the lens of your own life and experience, and you know that there's other ways to look at issues and other ways people look at issues, and that it just gives you more balance, I would say. I think the uniqueness of Montgomery County is something as simple as when we were in elementary school here in the county, we always learned about Black History Month every school year. In third grade, we had an assignment, we had to pick somebody, and we had to do like a little autobiography, and I had to memorize like half a page. Hi, my name is Gordon Parks, and tell my stories. So I think Montgomery County is relatively unique in its focus on those issues that other kids would not have been getting in the 70s in elementary school. And then learned years later how even more unique my first elementary school was, and then our principal, Dr. Davis, who I think still lives in the county, had us watch the movie Free to Be You and Me. Seems like several times a year, and anyone who went to English Grammar may tell you maybe it was only once, but it was about that girls could be whatever they wanted to be, and that boys could cry, and that a girl could be a doctor. And I think Rosie Greer was the one who led the song that boys could cry, and just to have this big burly man saying this. So I think that movie too was that maybe Dr. Davis saw that this county was becoming more diverse, and how important it was that people were more open to diversity and more open to believing that any young girl could be whatever she wants to be.
So how is it that you grew up in this neighborhood and you're looking at those leaders back during that time, and now you've become one of those leaders? How does that feel?
That's still surprising to me on occasion. When I came out publicly back in 2004, and to have I think like 200 thank you notes, only one negative, by the way, but one person saying, I now have the courage to tell my family, and things, and that's pretty amazing. That's not why you go into it really, but then you realize if you, hold yourself in a certain way and try to maintain the proper character that I think actually most public officials have, though a few bad stories make us look bad, but it is surprising sometimes to realize that you've influenced other people. So I'm glad when I get that feedback.
Yeah. So what would that do for you if that bill passed?
In the moment it wouldn't do anything for me immediately. My girlfriend and I aren't quite ready to take that plunge, but it's about the affirmation from society that comes along, that anyone has with just the marriage ceremony itself, that you bring everyone together. It's also the affirmation of being included in something that you've been excluded from, and it also means so much to me that kids, high school kids especially, people in their 20s, struggling with those identity issues like I certainly did, and when they say, oh, I can do that one day, I'm okay, because I think a lot of the messages they're getting is they're not okay, and I think kids need to hear that. So I'm very hopeful of what that message sends to the younger generation.
And bullying, particularly for gay teenagers today, I mean, it's really gotten out of hand,
I think you're right. I think bullying in general is something that gets overlooked too often from parents, teachers, and schools, saying, oh, it's just boys being boys, or girls being girls, or it's just teasing, and so often it does cross that line. And it's true that gay and lesbian teenagers are made fun of more often. The boy is a little effeminate, the girl is a little butch, or they're not dating, or they look different, and then they get teased that much more often. But so does the kid who's too tall, or too short, or too fat, or whatever differences. Kids will pick on other kids, but what we can do to create a more positive atmosphere and explain to kids that it's not appropriate and punish them accordingly and educate them at the same time. It's often found to be that the kids who are bullies in school are being bullied at home.
Yeah.
So I think when you invite their parents in and say there's a problem here, they might not want to admit that there's a problem here. But we were successful back in 2008 creating really positive bullying legislation for the state. We have an A++ rating by the Bully Police, a national organization that looks at different states. What I want to do this next session is help a little bit more with the health risks of bullying, just so parents and teachers, school counselors have better information about what the health risks might be. So maybe the kid isn't telling you they're being bullied, but maybe they're exhibiting some of the health risks which say, hey, let's sit down, let's talk, and maybe you find out that there's something going on.
So what would you say to kids who are being bullied?
That's a tough question. I wasn't ever bullied, though I'm sure I got my share of teasing. I think to tell them that, they have to speak up in their school, and they have to bring their parents in, and they have to be strong. I think the kids who are being bullied because they're gay, I think so much has happened in the last year or two. It's gone viral on YouTube, just the it's okay or it's going to get better campaign, and just letting kids know that it does get better. And whether they're being bullied for whatever reason, that life will get better, and the things that make them unique now that maybe highlights them to their classmates are those things that they're going to value later in life. But I think it's hard to hear at 15 that it'll get better, but I do think it will help some.
And what age did you come out?
I didn't come out until I was 33. I was old. I always wanted to run for political office and didn't think those two things went together, and finally I realized that no matter how much I've been thinking about running for office my whole life, that it would be empty without being happy on the personal side, and it was time to pursue it and figure out, and the minute I did, I was a lot happier.